we're back.
We're back after a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks.
We've missed everybody.
Feels like 6 years.
It seems like it's been a long time.
Yeah, we're still here.
We're alive.
Maybe a little shaggier. Hopefully not too much worse for wear. Hope you guys are staying safe and sane out there. I think we have here.
Yes, we're doing good. We are enjoying
playing Minecraft.
Yeah, enjoying the isolation, I guess, as best we can.
Yeah.
Isolation, just quarantine.
Quarantine.
Isolation is literally just sitting at home. We can go outside to go to the grocery store and play with my metal detector, but
yeah. So we've been outside. We put a tent in the backyard.
Yep.
We've got a metal detector, and we played with the metal detector.
I found some kind of candy wrapper. It's really weird.
We went on some walks, including a walk around the lake.
There's also a lot
through
of
the woods, through the off-beating path. In the woods, which was very fun.
So, hope you guys have tried to find some ways, even some creative ways to entertain yourselves and keep yourselves busy.
Me myself has created a robot arm and a portable kid's bedroom.
Yep. So he's been doing a lot.
Yeah, a lot of ways to keep busy.
I've been sword fighting people.
Well, I think we have a good program. Hopefully.
Yes.
I'm a little biased.
Yeah, we have a good program. Like I said, been a couple of weeks. We enjoyed Passover at home. First and last day of Unleavened Bread at home. Really good services we had from Tyler and from Ohio.
Sorry if you could see my socks.
And we were glad to have been a part of those services. We just glad you're part of our home, as we are 10 feet underneath the ground here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
10 feet. I'm not going to embellish anymore. I like to imagine like we're thousands of feet.
Man, that'd be a lot of stairs.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of stairs. But, 10 feet.
We'd need a go-kart. We'd need a go-kart.
Would be quite a bit.
So we have Connor's Corner.
Coming up. Yeah, we have Connor's Corner tonight.
Yay!
And Connor has put together a really interesting interpretation of a Bible story.
Please be nice. It may not be much, but it took me a while.
Okay.
And then we have a digital guest.
We have a digital guest. We have Lisa McCombs going to be joining us from Tyler, Texas.
Yeah.
She has a presentation, so we'll bring her on after our first break. And then we're going to come back and we're going to look at some questions. And this is an article that we found on the internet. And we took that article of questions you should consider before you reopen church.
Yes. So we're going to have a discussion, just things that you need to think about, things you should have a plan for. And again, that'll be a great opportunity for us to check people's comments.
Yeah, because I'd like to see what your comments are, because again, we don't have all the answers.
No.
But we have the questions.
And if you have additional questions, you might have some things that, because like I said, we pulled this from an article, so there's definitely going to be some more things to think about. So if you want to bounce that off of us, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, so definitely we have a good show tonight. As always, I want to, and I got this little thing fixed last time. It was giving me a lot of issues, the screen, if you remember last time, because I am running everything from this little control pad. I got a little mouse. I got my phone to check on stuff.
It's magic. It's the invisible cameraman.
Yes.
Totally exists.
And so we really do miss our cameraman. We miss the help that we can get. But we're doing our best. We're doing our best. But what I want to mention is the CGI Digital Network app. We're doing really great with this app. We're getting towards 10,000 downloads. It's really the way that we're reaching out to the world and able to spread the gospel.
10,000?
Yeah, a lot.
That's 10,000 more subscribers than Unspeakable has.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of people have downloaded it. We want this to be our magazine. What magazines used to be for folks. We want this to be that, where you check it every day. There's maybe a new article. There's some new Bible studies. There's sermons. There's thousands of stuff you can get in there, and you can really learn.
What's new?
And we've added the hymnal.
Yes.
To the we talked about that last time. The hymnals there. It is actually really good, especially if you're at home, which I guess most all of us are. Keeping Sabbath, you can play some songs, add the lyrics there, sing along. A lot of ways to connect with the CGI Digital app, and so we're very happy that we're promoting that heavily. We really like, if you're getting CDs and you can get the app, we prefer that you use the app because the app's going to be quicker, more efficient, faster. You can hook it up to your car, watch it on TV, all kinds of things you can do.
And just you've had fewer people in the office, so it
Yeah.
takes a while it takes a little longer than it normally would to get you.
Yeah, and
other
all these
materials.
buzzwords about like contactless, things. So there's no contact involved when we from using the app.
I have something to say.
Okay.
It's like me in the morning. I know some of you might do this, but with the CGI Network app, in the morning I normally just get up, go downstairs, take the puppy out, and then watch YouTube videos. And some people out there who have the CGI Digital Network app probably get up, take the dog out, and then just get on their phone and start looking on the.
Yeah.
So it's like reading the morning paper.
Yeah. It's like reading the paper, and you can actually
I watch the morning
cast.
YouTube.
Most phones, you can hit the cast button and cast it to your Google TV, or put it on your Apple TV, or use the Apple network app. So we've been watching church services here on our big screen upstairs. It's been really nice. I'm watching Wynn or watching Charles Gross give a sermon. Feels like we're there. When we did the Passover, we did it down here. We had a really big screen, and we
In
felt
our
like we were
theater room.
we felt like we were
That way.
a part of as much as we can what was going on
Yeah.
by bringing people into the home that way to I guess be creative and make sure we're fellowshipping. And there's some other ideas we're thinking about, and there's some things you might could do because who's using Zoom out there? Let us know in the comments if you're using Zoom for your work. It's become like the big killer app, I guess, of this last 4 or 5 weeks where really everybody's wanting to use Zoom. You're using Zoom,
Yeah,
right?
even I'm using Zoom with my class. Except sadly, it's only in smaller groups. It's only in a gift.
So what you can do, and I think we're going to do this for our Atlanta church tomorrow, and I think the Tyler church is going to do it, and maybe in your local church, maybe if you can't fellowship, get together a Zoom meeting and everybody say hello that way. I mean,
We're going to do it for Jackbox.
yeah, you can do it. Yeah, we're going to
So yeah,
do it for
that way
all
you can
kinds
do
of
some
things.
digital fellowshipping.
Yep, and I want to tell you about the schedule we have. It's changed a little bit. The schedule we have coming up here, we have, and I'll bring this up. This is the Sabbath service tomorrow. We have 9:30 a.m. Central Time from Medina, Ohio. So they'll start out, and they're going to do the sermon kind of first, and they'll do announcements later. That way you can be able to catch the sermon and what you need to catch from that, so that if you want to watch the sermon at 11 a.m. Central Time in Tyler, that you can go ahead and switch on over to that channel, Webcast 1, and watch the sermon. And back on Webcast 1 at 1:30, I think we had it at 1, but now we have it at 1:30. I think that works good for the folks up in Canada, which is 2:30 Eastern Time. They begin their Bible study. And so pretty good lineup for tomorrow for the Sabbath that you can really tune in, watch it on your television like we do, watch it on your phone, your app. Definitely ways to connect to everyone. So we're really happy about doing those things.
Yeah.
And I think that's really all that I have.
As far as a new announcement.
Any announcements? And so I'm gonna let you kind of like take this for a second while I change something over here. So anything interesting you might have in mind, or
Bananas.
noticing about what it's like, working at home and.
I'll say that I really enjoyed the spring holidays this year. It was very different, obviously, but I definitely did the most cooking I've ever done in my life.
Steak,
So it was
chicken
very
parmesan,
well, but all the
and
bread and all the
and
unleavened,
pizza.
the unleavened bread.
We had
pizza.
unleavened chicken parmesan.
Yeah,
Yes.
unleavened parmesan. How is that possible? It was more delicious than real parmesan.
It was
So
definitely
yeah,
good.
so being at home kind of allowed me to do that. Normally I buy some store-bought matzahs and that's about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we live off of Mazos.
if anything, I've set a precedent now that they're gonna expect me to cook each year.
Yeah, it was different for me. I don't normally do much to clean my house. We did a lot. 11. A lot to get rid of. But so now we're counting the weeks to Pentecost.
Yep.
And we're looking forward to that. We'll pray, everybody. We need to pray that maybe we'll be able to get together for Pentecost.
That would be
In
wonderful.
some form. So we're going, like I said, we're going to talk about later about what you can do to come back. Come back as a church. What's some things that we can do that we will see. All right. So
Without further ado.
without further ado, I think we have something that is known as Connor's Corner. Connor's Corner, because Connor works with a program you might be familiar with called Minecraft. A lot of you are. He's very creative and can create a lot of things. And so we've challenged Connor, and a lot of people out there have challenged Connor to create some biblical stories in Minecraft. And what's the ones you've done so far before the night?
I've done Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark, and that was impressive.
Yeah, that was my biggest one.
Yeah.
Daniel and the Lion's Den, which was, I believe, last time we were in.
Mm-hmm.
And then before that was
Adam and Eve?
Adam and Eve.
In the garden, yes. The creation.
Yep.
Yes, and I know what I'm doing now, but it's up to you guys what I'm going to do next.
Okay. So let's talk about tonight. So what story are we going to be talking about tonight?
Thanks to my grandma for suggesting this. I thought it was really good. It was a fiery furnace. And it was actually, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking how I could make that, and then I realized that was a story that I could easily make.
So the fiery furnace, some people may not know it by that name. What are the three main characters?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
So the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Thrown into a furnace.
So
and
yeah.
surviving!
Okay. So before we look at your screenshots, can you kind of just summarize the story for people? So what did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego get in trouble for?
For not worshiping a weird statue.
And
Why? Why is there Why?
So a statue of the king, and they were supposed to bow down and worship it, and they didn't do it.
I didn't know it was the king, so I'm sorry that it's a creeper.
Okay. All right. So, and what was their punishment for refusing to do that?
We got thrown into a furnace. The whole name of what I'm trying to say.
So they were thrown in a furnace. Okay. So show us the screenshots that you did.
Oh, magical
All right.
screenshots.
All right, so let me get the full screenshot up here. And this is the first one. So this would be the king.
Well, this would be the statue, right?
Statue, right.
This is the statue
This is the artistic interpretation.
of what I had in my inventory.
Yes. Of the statue.
With
Okay.
the stuff that I had in my
Okay.
inventory.
All right. What's the next one?
All right, the next one we got.
Creepara, god of explosion. That's just
Oh, that's what you named the statue?
Yeah.
I like that. So
Okay.
again, artistic
creeper.
interpretation
It's a
here.
creeper.
Yeah, so that was your god, your idol that was
It's a
created.
creeper, and creepers explode. So
Yeah.
Creepara, god of explosion.
All right. So that's your idol. All right. What do we have
Yeah.
next?
That's the guard, and you see Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Poor Abednego is all in the corner. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to be thrown in furnace.
Okay. So this is the guard taking them away.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I thought
What's
that
next?
character would fit the guard character in Iron Golem.
Yep. I like it. All right. What's next?
Okay.
Oh. This is
It
them.
looks like they did. It looks like
Yeah.
they did.
So they got thrown in the furnace. So in the story, what happens that's pretty miraculous when they get thrown in the furnace?
There's a random person.
Well, what doesn't happen to them that would happen to most people when you get thrown in a furnace?
You died.
So they didn't, right?
Yeah. They didn't go up in flames.
And why was that?
They had invisible force fields because of God.
So I guess that's the way to describe it.
Yeah, I can see how that would be the 8-year-old way to describe it, would be
Yeah.
invisible force field.
Yeah.
Because there would have to be, and think about it, there would have to be some way for God to prevent them from being burned.
So why not invisible force field? All right, so Connor, let's see if we can draw some comparisons.
Do we have paper?
Ha ha ha. Ba-dum-tsh. Okay.
Seriously, what do you mean by draw?
No, I just mean so let's compare that story to what's happening around the world right now. Okay?
Well, my mom told me this earlier at dinner. Imagine this. So, did God prevent them from going into the furnace, from getting thrown into the furnace?
So he could have, right? He could have prevented it.
He could have, but no, he didn't. No. Did he save them from getting burnt by the furnace? Yes.
And how is that similar to what's happening now?
Did God prevent the coronavirus? No. Did God protect us from the coronavirus? Most of us.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair assumption.
Most of us.
Yes, those of us that are doing what we're supposed to do and
some of
believe
us
and trust in God.
Did.
Right.
Most of
But
us
for those of us
did.
that are doing what we're supposed to be doing and believe and trust in God,
Yes.
He's keeping us safe.
We're safe. Safe zone.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this story? Anything else you learned?
Don't throw people into a furnace.
Yeah.
Don't throw people into a furnace.
Right.
That's probably a good rule to live by.
And probably don't work. You know, even if you have if you're given the choice of worshiping an idol.
Definitely do not go to the statue.
Yes.
I don't even know why they talk to a statue. It's made of stone, or in this case, it's made of pumpkins and iron. Okay, I'm just gonna talk about the comments. So, any of you, please comment anything. Please don't make it something too difficult. So I know someone said Joan and the whale, and in my Noah's Ark, if you remember, I said that about the giant turtle. That was meant to be a giant whale that was going to represent the spirit of Jesus watching over them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, wait, sorry, Jesus wasn't born yet. God, the spirit of God in the ocean. But then it just turned into the turtle. Literally, it just turned into a turtle, and then I just added a shell.
Well, someone said, Connor, I hate creepers. And then someone else told you, good use of lava.
Mm-hmm.
Lava? But lava. It's not lava. There's no lava.
Well, whatever the fire was.
Fire.
Good use of fire.
Flint and steel.
And then a good example of following the rules of your land unless they are against the laws of God.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right. Well, thank
Wonderful.
you so much, Connor. And yes, please continue to make your comments
Okay.
and things you'd like to see him do later.
So Connor's going to be going away for a couple of months.
Yes.
And next time, I promise, in Pennsylvania, I have an Xbox up there, so I'm going to be making stuff on my Xbox, and taking pictures and sending it down here.
So
And
Connor is
hopefully-
going up to Pennsylvania for a while to visit his dad. And so this is going to be his last time on bots for a couple months.
Yeah, me and my brother could help. He's really good at building.
So
he
yes,
built a
he would
zoo.
very much like your comments so that he can continue making things and sending us some pictures.
Yeah.
So he can still be involved.
I love doing this for you guys. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I really feel involved.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're going to go take a break.
Well,
what are we
what
doing?
we're going to be doing, and hopefully, because we're here and we're practicing the social distancing, we're keeping to our family unit, but we do want to bring some people in on our program occasionally, and we may do that more and more, as I see a lot of people on the network are doing. They're all working at home doing the same kind of stuff. So tonight we are happy to be joined by Lisa McComb, one of the founders, beginning of bots from Tyler, which they will be doing next week. Next week we'll be doing bots back from Tyler, Texas. But Lisa has a really interesting presentation about balance. And so we're going to go. We're going to have like a little quick, maybe 15-second commercial, and then go right into.
Second.
That's a short commercial. And then we're going to go right into Lisa's
Up on the
presentation.
stairs still.
So y'all get ready for it. Make your comments. I'm sure she's in the chat, going to be in the chat to respond. And we'll be back after that here in our studio to talk about some things to consider before you reopen your church. Just some things to think about, and we can maybe discuss. So we'll do that, and we'll be back in just a little bit.
Hello, Bots family. We're so glad to see you tonight, and I hope that you're faring well during this time. And tonight, I wanted to come to you and talk to you about something that I've been thinking about. And you may have already saw that Jeff actually may have prepared a slide about balance. So tonight I want to talk about balance, and there is a wonderful proverb about balance that I'm going to go over, and I want to keep this really positive we hear enough negative stuff on the news and just want to keep it positive, but have you ever thought about a time where you have to keep balance? Maybe you've lost your balance, or you're trying to catch your balance. So, I know that when I was young, I was really worried about wanting to be a gymnast. Not a professional gymnast, but just be able to do gymnastics like cartwheels and walkovers and back handsprings and stuff like that. So those required a lot of balance. And so I thought about balance when I was a kid. And as I was a college student, I thought about balance in my life, like how many classes to take as opposed to how many hours to work. And there's always a time in our life where we have balance. And I wanted to go over this proverb, Proverbs 11, because it is about balance. And God talks about how we balance things. And he says that the Lord hates cheating and delights in honesty. So God really doesn't like us to try to cheat other people, and he wants us to be honest. And verse 2 says, proud men end in shame, but the meek become wise. So it's always good to be understanding, meek, and just, make sure that people know that you are wanting to take care of them. Now, the integrity of the upright guides them. So I'm going to go on through the rest of these verses all the way to the end and just hit on the positiveness and just think about the good things that we can do through life that will help us to stay in the God balance. So the first one is the integrity of the upright guides them. So we want to make sure that we stay positive and we keep integrity. We're very honest, and we look to God for our guidance. And righteousness delivers us from death. The righteousness of the perfect shall direct his ways, and the righteousness of the upright delivers them. So the next two verses after that, the righteous man is delivered from trouble, and by knowledge the righteous are delivered. So we are directed by God if we follow him. We are delivered by God. We are delivered. So those verses say that we're directed and we're delivered. So always look to God for direction and deliverance. Now the next two verses, it says, the whole city celebrates a righteous man's success, and by the blessing of the upright a city is exalted. So we have some things going on in our cities, our counties, our states right now, And we have seen people make good decisions, righteous decisions, things that are right. And those cities are exalted when that happens. So even in our cities, this can happen. God gives a blessing. The next two verses, to quarrel with a neighbor is foolish. A man with good sense holds his tongue. He who is trustworthy is in spirit doesn't spread rumors. So we want to make sure that we're not just idle gossiping as we go through this time. This person, they weren't wearing a mask. I saw a meme the other day, a friend of mine posted, and he says that if you told the police about your non-mask wearing neighbor, then you did the right thing. And I mean, what good does it do to tell? I mean, it's just, you just pray for that person if it really bothers you. Also, the next verse, without wise leadership, a nation is in trouble, but with good counselors, there is safety. Now, a lot of people have had negative things to say and positive things to say about the leadership of this country in different political parties and different times. But I just am relishing the fact that the leaders of this country are hopefully going and looking for good counsels. And I know for a fact that the president and some of the people are actually asking, God. They're praying. They're asking their spiritual leader, their spiritual consults, their counselors, and there's safety in that. God has this situation under control. So we really need to let our prayers be with the leadership of the nation, and that they actually find good counselors for safety. We're down to verse 16 and 17. It says, a gracious woman gets honor, and a man who is kind benefits himself. I love that. It tells us to be gracious and kind. So be gracious and kind. Now, verse 18, 19, and 20, 21 and 20. One who sows righteousness gets a sure reward. The good man finds life. The Lord hates the stubborn, but delights in those who are good. So we need to be good and sow righteousness. And the offspring of the righteous will be delivered. So not just yourself, as we talked about earlier, being of deliverance, but your children and your children's children. It passes on through the generations. You know about the blessings or the cursings of the generations. Verse 23 and 24 go together. The desire of the righteous ends only in good. Don't be afraid to give freely. You will be very blessed. So, during this time, don't hoard. Don't be a hoarder. Don't say, I need more toilet paper. I know I'm being a little bit silly there, and I think the toilet paper frenzy is kind of over because we're starting to see more toilet paper here in stores. I hope you are too. But the desire of the righteous ends only in good. So if you desire righteousness and you are following your desires, end in good. And don't be afraid to be giving. You're going to be blessed in return. God blesses a cheerful giver. And a blessing is on the head of him who sells in time of need. I love that verse right now because those people who have been hoarding and they're trying to sell, some of them won't. They just won't give it away or sell it. They just want to keep it. So if someone has something and they can give it away, or even if they need to sell it, if it was something very expensive, if you can sell it in this time of need that people need things, and you can sell it to them and be gracious about it, you'll receive a blessing for that too. So finally, we have verse 27 through 31, which is the end. And if you search for good, you will find God's acceptance. Trust in God and flourish. Godly men are growing a tree that bears life-giving fruit, and all who win souls are wise. Even the godly shall be rewarded here on earth. So this tells me that to always look for good, and I mean, even in people, I mean, some people just are kind of out of their mind right now because it's just hard to deal with the circumstances around this situation. So always try to search for the good in someone. You know that it was there possibly before. You'll find God's acceptance, even if they're out of line. Be sure to trust in God, and He will make you have plenty. If you are godly, that means you're going to be giving life, giving fruit. The fruits of the Spirit, those give life. And if you are able to do that and win souls over to God, then you are very wise. And I mean, it's a good thing. And your reward, you can be rewarded here on earth. Okay? I know that I love to help people, and I get that feel-good feeling when I'm hopefully helping others, and I hope I'm not overbearing with it or trying to overstep bounds with people, but I just want to help. But each of these verses has a balance in it. There's a contra. If you want to go back and read Proverbs 11, then you'll see the contra in it. But I wanted to stay with the positive so that we would know how to react in these times. And just go back and read the whole thing. There's a balance about it, and God always has balance. So keep your balance. And I'll see you next time.
Yes, I know that's due today. Yes, and the cupcakes for the soccer game. I'll do the best I can to get that to you. Yep, I'll do my best. Anything else? You want me to watch your kids this weekend? Okay. And the dog? Sure, let me add that to my list. Okay, sure. Okay, okay. Sure. Yeah. Can you hang on a second? I gotta go.
If you don't have a magic seashell, we invite you to relax with friends and be refreshed by God at Seaside Escape. Wish you could have a day at the beach? Time with girlfriends for laughing and sharing. Time with God reflecting, praying. You can at Seaside Escape. It's a retreat where you'll have time with girlfriends, time with God, time for relaxation and refreshment. Join the women at our church at a sparkling, splashy, beach-themed retreat. Seaside Escape.
We are back.
Welcome back. Wow, that beach looks good.
Yeah, definitely the beach that we're still planning those dates. So prayers out there that all works out.
Yep, that's 2 months from now. So
Whatever
God
phase,
willing.
whatever phase reopening plan we are in the country, however they have that would be a great thing to do to get together.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know about you, but I miss it. I miss y'all. I miss everyone out there.
Yes.
I miss people. I broke my tooth last week, and I was fortunate enough to go to the dentist Monday. Would you say fortunate to go to the
It's a
dentist?
crazy sentence.
Yeah, I was fortunate to go to the dentist because I was able. It's like, well, I get to get out of the house, and I got this adventure. I'm going to go to the dentist, and I get there, and I pull my car in, and I'm the only one there because they only allow one person at a time. Front door is open. The lady at the counter has a mask, and she has like a wipe, and she wipes down my pen and says, "Sign all this stuff," and then I go straight back. No one's there except the dentist, and he's got his PPE on and gloves, and everything's all sterilized, and he's like, "What you got?" And I say, "Well, I broke this. I had broke this tooth back here, and a little piece of it had broken off." He's like, "I think we'll just pull that little part off, and we'll do a filling." And he says, "Yeah, we can get in there. It'll be great. You won't even know anything happened. You'll be back." And like an hour later, I was able to eat. So it was like good. But what I found so refreshing was that even though he had a mask, and I'm talking to him. You know how you ever talk to a dentist?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he understands. So like I'm looking at the dentist, and he's like, "So where are you from?" I'm like, "Well, I'm from Lawrenceville." And you kind of talk that way. He understands perfectly because that's how he talks to people all day. But we had like such a great conversation about life as he's like working on my mouth, and I was like, I just felt so refreshing to have a conversation. Nothing about being here at home. It's just that having a conversation with a person outside the home.
Going to see his dad next weekend. He was like, "Please don't take this personally. I'm not going to miss you at first. I want to see other people."
Yeah. And that's the thing, we're in a situation where we're not because we're following the laws.
Yeah.
We're doing at least what we think is best to prevent the spread. To hopefully that they'll be able to, it will die out. There won't be as much heartache and infection.
But we're starting to turn towards the thought of opening.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Like, hey, right here in Georgia. And we didn't do it today. We could have got a tattoo, went bowling, and got our hair done. All today was it was a day of opening.
Georgia's starting to permit things to open. We'll see if they actually do.
Now, if you go to get your hair done, now they're going to be covered in gloves and masks, and you'll be waiting outside, and they'll be spraying. There'll be a lot of Lysol involved. I guess it's a different experience.
Yes. So but it's a good thing for people's minds to start turning towards how do we open things? How do we start going in the right direction? What are the first baby steps? Mm-hmm. It's not going to be a light switch. We can't just turn it all back on. But let's at least start talking about how we do that versus talking about shutting things down, not having things, all the stuff we can't do, can't find toilet paper. Let's talk about the positive and going in the right direction.
Yeah. What can we do in going in the right direction, following government guidelines? And again, there may be resurgences. I mean, there may be things that happen.
2 steps forward, 1 step back. Hopefully, it's not 1 step forward and 20 steps back.
Yeah.
So people naturally are then starting to think about churches. Like you said, we miss everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody misses everybody.
Yeah, and again, some places churches can open soon. The rules may be like you can have 10 or less people, or everybody's got to be 6 feet apart, and you got to have like a sanitation regimen. There's rules, and it's very unusual. Some people are meeting in parking lots with cars, and that to me sounds like maybe the best way to start out, because everybody's in their car. Except I guess if you have to go to the bathroom, that might be.
Yeah.
By
the way, someone was asking Jeff about the CGI family event in Medina in July, and that goes under the same category of we're kind of.
I want to do that. I want to be there. I want to see people. I want to hug people. I want to be a part of this. I just don't know.
Right, and that's why we're starting to talk through these questions and these.
Because the hotel may not even be open. The reason.
But just because up until this all started, this was going to be the first time we were doing it. So we were trying to think through all the logistics of just bringing people together and serving them and coming up with good biblical content and good family fun and food. And we're trying to come up with all those logistics. Now what we're trying to work through is, are we also going to be able to figure out these additional logistics of how to keep people safe?
Yeah.
How to make sure we're keeping people healthy? What would we do if we have a problem? So that's why we're starting to think through these things.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to go up to Ohio? You catch a disease and then you're stuck there 14 more days.
Right. And I know I personally have been to feasts several times where if somebody brought the crud with them, a lot of us are taking the crud home with us by the end of feast.
It does seem to spread quite a bit.
Just because we have people spending time together in close contact and hugging and hanging out. And so if we can make it happen, it will happen.
Yeah. So here I want to look at a scripture first. Scripture, Proverbs 22:3. This is one that, I let people know. This is the reason why CGI, a lot of churches of God, have decided that we weren't going to have services during this time. Some people are like, wow, we're going to do it anyhow. But the reason why we decided is because we're biblically based and we want to obey God and do what God lets us know to do. And in Proverbs 22:3, it says, the prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go and suffer for it. So that's just a basic principle of, if there's something dangerous out there, you avoid it. As best you can. Now, but another scripture that is also important to remember in all this is Philippians 4, verses 6 through 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be known to God, and the people of God, that's us, which surpass all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So we may be going through, people have gone through this throughout history. We live in a really good time, a safe time. We haven't lived through plagues. Now we're living through a plague. How do we, as the people of God who are spoilt by our technology, and we think we're better than all this because we know how we can handle this. Maybe we don't. How do we deal with this? And the key is faith in Christ. He's our Savior.
Kind of puts us back in our place a little bit, huh?
That is the number one.
Kind of like, nowhere to this extent. But, at the end of Job, well, who are you? Mm-hmm. You thought you know everything? You thought you had answers to everything?
Yeah.
You figured you could whisk anything away with your medical knowledge and your internet and your everything else?
Yeah. Yeah. So we are definitely in a humbling time.
Yes.
Right now, a time where things have changed within a month. So much has changed. So here's a picture I want to show you. This is like a picture of average church. Remember that? Shaking hands, hugging each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are we going to get back to that? Because we can't not do that, right? We have to get back to where we are.
Yeah, the answer can't be that'll never come back.
Yeah, that would
That's
be
not okay.
The wrong answer. So again, about being safe. Things we know. Noah stayed in the ark. He didn't go out and swim with the fishes. I've seen some memes about that. Right? He stayed in the ark until it's safe to get out. Understand that. And again, Jesus tells us not to tempt God, which means that we don't want to put ourselves in the harm's way.
Right. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't throw themselves in the furnace.
No. Yeah. Yeah, so we don't do that.
God protects us when we're put in situations.
And then we have the quarantine principles in Leviticus, and some people say, "Oh, well, that means for you quarantine the sick, the living. Why are we all quarantining ourselves?" And again, the principle is there's people that are sick that are over here, and the healthy people live in this community. So what you want to do is get the sick people away from the community.
And when you can't tell who the sick people are,
you got to protect your community.
Yeah.
Again, and that's using those principles, and that's some good principles. All right, so I found this is an article that was shared online. It was by the name of guy Ken Brady, and it was 24 things. We're not going to look at all 24 things because they apply differently to different churches. But things to look at that may be relevant to, I guess, the Church of God International as we make our decisions. And again, we have an executive board, very wise executive board, who are making decisions about what's best for our.
And then all kinds of churches of God.
And all kinds of churches of God that are out there that we are all part of. So, what are some things that are relevant that we can, think about as we begin to, reopen, whether it's, over the next couple of months,
Right.
or however that comes about.
So similar to that biblical principle of not starting to build something before counting the cost. I think
Right.
I kind of think of that if you're going to open back up and you're going to take that responsibility to invite people in, how have you accounted for the situation that's going on so that you feel good about keeping your people safe?
Yeah. All right. So let's go. I'll take the first question, and then we'll go back and forth reading it.
Okay.
The first one is what adjustments will you make to the Passover, baptisms, and your choir ministry?
Well, we obviously made some big changes this year to Passover.
We did the Passover. Now, say for instance in the future, because with Passover, say because again this may be around, there may not be a vaccine or a treatment next April. It may be under control. We may be able to isolate it, but you know what? Do we pass around a plate where everyone's grabbing from the same plate, or do we break it and separate it, or is there different ways to do that?
Right.
Sanitary.
Similar to how the wine, most churches of God I've seen use the little single serve, little shot glasses versus Catholic church where everyone is sipping from
and
the
they're just
same
wiping
cup.
it with like a towel, which I've always
With the
thought
same
that
towel
was.
each
I was like,
time.
that was never for me.
Yeah.
with that kind of hygiene.
But yeah, being more conscious about that. Baptism.
Baptism. Now, baptism is baptism. You're gonna take them down, lay upon hands, and I guess I would say make sure the person's in good health.
Yep. So we're
before
not going
they're
to start
baptized.
throwing bleach in the water.
Yeah, no bleach in the water. I mean, that's just things I'm thinking.
But maybe we don't have every single person hug them right after.
Yeah, because we normally hug them and congratulate them, and that's the thing we do. But it's a thing to consider. Is that something we need to do right away, or it's like give them an elbow, or do like that? Say things we can do that are non-touch as far as baptism. And these are things to consider. I want to see what y'all ideas you have. And again, doing these things is not saying we don't have faith, because we do have faith. I have faith in God's word. I have got faith that God gives us guidance of how to deal with these things and to be wise and to not tempt God, and then God will take care of the rest. God will protect us, but He definitely wants us to act in wise ways.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and also a choir ministry, because I guess choirs are all close together and stuff like that.
Well, and multiple
they're all
people,
singing and they're
well,
all.
I think also multiple people trying to talk into the same microphone.
Yeah. So those are interesting things to consider. All right, and again, I don't know if we have the answers. You think about the answers. If you have some ideas out there, give us some of your ideas, and we'll definitely read them. The next one, if you can. Read
so
this
how
next
will
one.
you go forward? So this is what we're starting to talk about. So going forward, how do we deal with Vacation Bible School, with retreats, with summer camps? I know you said, which church was it that you said had already made the decision not to do summer camp?
Yeah, I think it's one of the bigger churches of God. I'm not sure exactly which one. Maybe a couple have decided to cancel all their summer camps already, and probably some others have canceled. There's a lot of summer camps that I've already read are canceled from a lot of other churches around. We have Vacation Bible School. A lot of churches of God will do that. A Vacation Bible School for a community. I think Camp Outreach does that for a community.
Right.
So those are things.
I know some churches that have already purchased materials are going to try to kind of treat it like the digital learning. Hand out the materials or mail them out to the kids, and then do the digital Zoom meetings or things like that.
Yeah. So that's the thing to think of, and when what we're doing in Ohio is this, I guess we're going to go by, well, what does Ohio say?
Yeah. Step one, if nobody's allowed to travel to Ohio and no hotels are open, then that kind of.
If Ohio says, okay, you can have meetings, but you can only have 50, all right, so can we do it? We'll just do it with 50, and we just make sure we're sanitized. Everybody there's healthy, and we're doing and we're trusting in God for His protection as we're doing the best we can to be protected. There's different ways to approach these things.
Yeah.
If we decide to do it, or we cancel and or we push it off to another year.
Rain check.
Or rain check on things. Things we don't want to do.
No.
Don't want to do, but it's things to consider. All right. So the next, all right, is a physical pass the plate offering a thing of the past? Now this is something that we normally don't do in churches of God. We do it during the holy days. We pass the plate. And then we do have some churches CGIs that I've been to that they have a part of their service where they pass the plate around for offering. So and that's perfectly fine. Whatever liturgy you have decided to put together in your church. But the thing is, passing a plate is passing something.
Passing germs.
Yeah, passing germs.
Whereas the independent group here in Atlanta, I know they always have had just a basket in the back where you put your envelope or your offering and and we've got separate holy day envelopes. So
yeah, and that's what we do most.
So that's a simple thing to just cut down.
And we had I think a record number of people who gave their offerings and their for the holy days in our app.
Yeah,
our app is
that's a completely
very
touchless.
Convenient way to touchless. Hey, I'm donating. I do it real quick. Here's the donation. And again, when your donations, they pay for the app. They pay for all the evangelism that we're doing. Because we're doing a lot of evangelism during this, and people need a lot of evangelism.
Especially right now,
this.
it's allowed. That actually allows money to get to churches quicker, because the mail is running slower.
Mm-hmm.
If your church isn't open, then someone going to pick up the mail at your church to get the envelopes and then take that home and process it.
And person with the envelopes, I'm sure they have a glove zone. And they may be wearing a mask because they're opening mail. They don't know where it's come from, and they're going through. I mean, it's those concerns.
I know. Here we have to make an appointment to go to a bank.
Yes.
So yeah. So if your church has a way for you to digitally give money, that's a easy, convenient, and efficient way right now.
Okay, and then then the next one.
All right. So, what are you doing now to sanitize and sterilize your church buildings? So, church services starting in an hour is not the time to start thinking about this question.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, just like schools, now when they send the kids home, that's when they're doing the deep cleaning, the sterilizing. And obviously that becomes more of a problem for all the groups that don't own their own building.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, CGI, we have some churches, we have our own building. And again, a deep cleaning is always a good thing to do. It's just a good standard biblical thing to do. I think if you ain't been there for a while, it's probably free of any kind of viruses.
Yes.
And
it just
stuff.
might be dirty, but
you do want to sanitize the building. I guess bathrooms, or definitely where a lot of germs are passed anyway. And some churches I've heard are not even opening their bathrooms when they first started up. So that makes things difficult. Go before you come.
Now that's going to be a leap of faith.
Yeah, that's definitely a leap of faith without bathrooms. But again, what are you doing to sanitize? You have a plan to sanitize.
And so obviously you shouldn't be opening your church if you're not able to do that. I know here in Georgia I was making that comment of, some places being allowed to begin opening today. And my question was, I still can't find Lysol or Clorox wipes or paper towels.
I have some Lysol I ordered on Amazon. I got in there and ordered 4 bottles with no date. So whenever they get some, they're going to send us some.
So, my question was, what magical store was opening today that allowed all of these businesses to get what they would need to keep their employees safe and to, follow the rules for patrons. So, obviously make sure that you can do those things as far as cleaning and sanitizing.
Yeah. All right. So the next question is, are you going to continue offering children's church? So are you going to continue to offer children's church?
Because obviously children are not the best at keeping their hands to themselves.
Well, here's the thing about children, and what happens. Part of our natural our immune system, and this is kind of like God's design. Children will like just pick up stuff off the ground and put it in their mouth, and they'll rub, and you're like, what are they doing? And they're in the dirt, and they're touching stuff, and they're doing that. But they're developing their immune system. So they actually, by doing all that stuff, they're developing a strong immune system to all the stuff that they're now coming in contact with, and their body's like, what's this? You know, we gotta start working on stuff to protect against this, and what's this? So it's natural for children to do that and to touch things a lot. Now, but when in the case of where now they could get something like coronavirus, which if they were to get it to grandmother who may be older, that could be unfortunate.
Yes. So just like you want kids to be curious, you want kids to try things and figure them out, but you don't want them to stick a fork in an electrical socket.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, how do we keep kids? I mean, it's hard when kids see each other for the first time after this. I can't imagine taking Connor to church and telling him, don't hug your friends, don't sit close to them, don't go play on the playground with them, just come sit here by me and stay 6 feet apart. That's I think would be harder on him than just staying here.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I mean, again, like even the playground at the park we went to had yellow tape all around the playground because they just, it's a major touch surface, and
yeah,
and that's it's part of like the considerations of like how do these things spread. So it's a thing to consider, right?
Yeah.
Another one is we'll bring it up here.
So are you going to continue hosting special events? So again, the independent church here in Atlanta was kind enough to let us use their building and their grounds for our wedding in November. And I'm eternally grateful for it.
Oh,
and
yes.
I'm also eternally grateful that we didn't plan that for next week.
Yeah. And again, I feel for a lot of people who are having weddings like now because they're doing it
basically like we're doing bots.
Oh, yeah. So here's a video. We're getting married. Y'all all watch.
Yep.
But we're still getting married.
So, I mean, that's another thing. Again, just those baby steps of first, do we just do church? Then do we do church and networking? Then do we do church and potluck? Then do we do special events where we're inviting people from outside of our congregation that aren't as familiar with the rules that we've put in place coming in?
Yeah. And someone's asking me what verse was I speaking of in Philippians? It was Philippians 4, 6 through 7. You can go back and reference that. That's what I mentioned earlier. All right, so let's see. We'll get the next question. Okay, and here's one because this is very much a very Church of God one.
Very near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, very or to my stomach. Will you continue potlucks immediately? So that's a question we have to ask because the way I think about it, like they're allowing restaurants to open
starting Monday.
And we've been able to get some takeout food from restaurants, and they've been good.
Yep, but again, takeout is a little more structured. Very few hands touching it, following rules about cleanliness.
Yeah, so and in restaurants, they're not allowing salad bars or buffets
right now.
Right now, again, and me, a buffet scares me already because it is a breeding ground of bacteria and whatever else is there. But they're not allowing that. And they're allowing, I think, in Georgia, which is the first state really that's opening restaurants I know of, you have 500 square feet, and you can have like 10 people in 500 square feet, and then 6 people per table. The person waiting is going to be wearing a mask, probably gloves. You order. Probably they'll figure out ways that you're not handing them cards anymore, and you're probably just paying on your phone or something with an app to payment, so everything's contactless. A very bizarre like dystopian, like I'm like watching a science fiction kind of thing.
Right. But yeah, but so potlucks are basically buffets. So maybe it's if you trust people to, obviously not cook things if you're sick and to be careful, then maybe you have one person who's dishing up everybody's plate and wearing gloves.
Yeah.
Versus everybody touching all the same utensils.
Yeah, and that's good food safety anyhow. Person, you put on gloves, and when you put on gloves, I worked in food service for 20 years. You don't put on gloves and touch your face, because I would work with folks. They put on gloves, they touch their face. Like take off the gloves, wash your hands, put on new gloves. That's not the way gloves work. But if you follow like basic hygiene with a potluck, maybe there's things to consider. As if you do potlucks, or maybe not do potlucks. Maybe you just want
maybe that's
get together.
step 4.
Right. I mean, again, like the models are putting out there is like people's going to come to church. Everybody is 6 feet apart, waving to each other. There's a service.
We have one person that's going to pour all the coffee. They better be really good at following directions on how much cream and sugar I want.
Yeah.
That, or do we just need to go, BYOC and bring your own coffee in a travel mug?
Yeah. Again, these are things to consider. I'm interested to hear what y'all think. Again, we put our faith in God. That if we make mistakes or we do whatever, God's going to protect us as long as we do our best to protect ourselves and do things that are wise. And that's what we're looking at is like what are some things we can do that we can have church, make everybody feel comfortable. Again, and I think a lot of churches won't even have some of the older, and I hate this, the people who really need church, some of the older folks who are sick and need church are the ones we're saying, well, maybe you shouldn't come to church, and that makes me sad.
Yeah.
Makes me sad.
What's the next one?
All right, if we have another one, let's see. All right, yes, this is another one. Okay, do you want to read this one?
Yeah, so what's your strategy to clean and sanitize your church in real time? Which is, again, important for groups that don't own their own building. So they can't come in on Friday, have a cleaning crew or a volunteer from the group do it far ahead of time. So, and if you're going to be there for a few hours, is the cleaning that you did before anyone showed up enough?
Yeah.
Or does someone have to keep cleaning stuff?
Yeah, when we go to the Publix, right, there's a guy they're always washing every single cart.
Yep.
Before a person uses it. So they're going to open up maybe theaters. I don't know if theaters will open up. There's no movies to show right now. But if a theater opens up, the rule is that every single seat has to be thoroughly cleaned in that theater between movies. And I'm like, and you have 16-year-olds, people working at I just don't see that happening.
People working at the theater can't even clean their own bathroom or room.
Yeah. Yeah, what I'm saying is that's a lot of cleaning to clean, because I've cleaned stuff before and cleaned in different areas. Cleaning deep cleaning or cleaning, sanitizing, wiping down every single item in a theater, that's a lot to do. So what about church? You have somebody who's a greeter that's opening the door for everyone so they don't have to touch the door. Is the greeter wearing a mask? Is someone wiping down, bathroom knobs, somebody going into the bathroom and clean it down on a regular basis? Or do we,
like
those are things to
the stuff at
consider.
the coffee station, the water, all of that, the things that everyone's touching.
Yeah, do you have any comments on there that seem relevant?
No, not right now.
Not right now, okay.
People are being social over here.
All right, it's good to be social. This is a good time to do it. All right, so let's go look at, and again, things to think about. The next one is, should you add or shorten worship services to allow for social distancing? So in other words, like say, hey, they say, hey, you can only have 50 people. Well, our church has 100 people. So do we have 2 services so that people can spread out? And we got 50 in one service, 50 in another, and everybody can still social distance and follow the guidelines, keep everybody safe. Make it short, keep out.
Do you do just church and no networking? I mean, networking, fellowshipping. But yeah, all the social stuff before and after. Do you kind of cut that out for a little while?
Yeah, and again, and these questions we're asking, we're not saying this is next week. This is something.
It's whenever it's your church, whenever it's your group.
Whenever your church, and you're making these decisions, and according to how your church personally feels about this pandemic, and because there's a lot of different thoughts about it, about things, but and thing is, what do you feel comfortable with? What do you think is going to be best for protecting those that you love in your church? All right, what do we got next?
So a more serious one.
Yeah.
So, again, thinking of the members of your church and others in your community, how are you going to deal with the rise of COVID-19 related addictions or unhealthy habits?
Yeah, because there's things that people may drink too much or abuse substances. There's things that are that are free on the internet that people can look at, that can take their and not get into too much detail, take their mind off of these things.
Right.
That people already are addicted to quite a bit.
But they've had, what's the old saying? Idle hands are the devil's playground.
Yeah. So you're at home. I'm stressed. People have different ways of dealing with stress. Whether
right.
It's,
and they can have some unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Whatever sin or vice that is, people may deal with stress.
Right.
And this can create addictions or create problems. And so how do we help those people?
And just create unhealthy family relationships.
Yes.
There could be some people that just spending this much time together hasn't gone as well as it's gone for us.
Yeah. It's again, being stuck in the house with someone for month after month after month, and that and maybe if you're don't get along well,
so
it could be a problem.
Just maybe we need to come up with some ways to check on our people.
Yeah.
Talk to them, see how they're doing, more than just the fine.
Yeah, even right now, because again, people are lonely, especially if you're by yourself. There's a lot of mental health issues that are out there. I think there's a rise in prescription medicine for mental health issues because people are scared, people are anxious. It's natural. Things are happening. How can we help others? And the best way is just talking to others, helping them through this, let them know your own stories.
Yeah, my mom would say when she would talk to her mother, who's now passed on a few years, but she, when you call somebody, how are you doing? Oh, fine. She'd always say fine. Mm-hmm. But then she'd talk to her for a little while, and then she would say, how are you feeling? And after talking for a few minutes and wording it differently, that always got a different answer.
Yeah.
That's when she would actually start talking about how are you feeling and what issue she was having. Because she lived by herself until she was 92 before we would get her to even go to an assisted living place. So anyway, actually talk. Don't just say, how you doing? Fine. And think you've checked on someone.
Yeah.
People need a little more checking in right now than that.
I have a comment. Somebody says, Darlene here says, with social distancing, someone may have to sit in the front pew or the front row.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah, because a lot of people do not want to sit there. There's always a space there. All right. Let's see if we got another.
Or is that?
I think
nope, that was it.
That's
all
it.
Right. So again, is that everything? No.
And again,
do we have all the answers for everything?
Here's where we want to be.
Yes.
Friendly, church, back to normal, kind of feeling.
I don't know. That woman in the back right looks like she might be ready for some social distancing in that
What's
picture.
that right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where she looks a little apprehensive, but it's just a picture. But here we go. Here's a picture I got when I looked up church that I have on my computer. And this is the church I got in the Philippines.
Wow.
And
we want to be there. We want to be doing that.
Yeah. So
and everybody, especially come feast time this year.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to think about how do you social distance at a Feast of Tabernacles or what are we going to do. Again, it's prayers. Prayers that everybody will do the right thing, that people will be careful, prevent the spread, do the things that need to be done so we can get back to normal. Those are things that we're praying for. But again, it's a different time.
And we're just going to have to take some baby steps together.
Yeah, and again,
but if we do them together, then they won't seem so hard.
Yeah. And again, what can we do to still stay connected? You know, call somebody in your church. If you haven't called them, you know, I would say tonight. Yeah, call somebody tonight in your church. Talk to them.
Or tomorrow.
Or tomorrow.
If it's late, because it's kind of late.
Yeah, kind of late some places. But you know, connect. Do all we can to try to create that fellowship.
But yeah, tomorrow's the Sabbath. You got nothing better to do. Call and check on your people.
Yeah, let people know that we care about them.
All right. I think that's all we had for that. Do we want to take a break and come back?
We're going to take a break, and the break we're going to have is again our you know we're positive. We're looking forward to the future. We'll have our commercial for our Feast of Tabernacles in New York
City.
In New York. So again, New York, definitely keep praying for New York. It is definitely the most hard-hit place in the world. A lot going on there. Even amongst our church, we have people we're praying for who were affected deeply.
Directly, yeah.
Directly. And so pray for those, you know, definitely who are seeing the worst of it. There's a lot of places where, you know, it's not so bad. You know, we're doing good. But definitely continue to pray. So we're going to go to this commercial. Let's look about for this, and when we get back, we'll do our final comments.
And we're back.
We're back. Connor's back. Somebody was asking, is the site in the city or outside the city of New York, and it's outside the city of New York, but probably close enough that if you wanted to visit and do all the touristy things there,
Right.
you'll be in that area. Definitely, I mean, looks like a like a great place to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Lisa right here says it's going to be hard for her not to dive back in the church.
Yep. For a lot
I
of
was
people.
in the comments for a while. Please continue to suggest more. I saw very few. By very few, I saw one.
All right. So again, this is going to be Connor's last time with us for a couple months.
Me and my brother will very much enjoy building it. And I know my brother will definitely say yes. He doesn't really care what we're building. He just loves building in Minecraft.
All right.
Okay.
But if you would, but make sure you say bye to everybody and tell them you'll miss them and see them in a few
Bye.
months.
See you in a few months. I know you guys will probably do bots once or twice.
Oh yeah.
We'll
Like
do
5 or 6 times.
We'll do as much as we can, and hopefully we'll be bringing some guests back in, and we'll be getting back to normal as quick as we can here.
Yes.
So again, thank you for joining us
Yes.
tonight and being part of your Sabbath evening. So may God bless your Sabbath.
Good
Take
night,
care.
everyone.
Goodbye.
All right, we're not.
Well, okay.